Hey, it's Paul. I'm headed to the farm today. Celeste's working, but I just received some bio, and this is a bacteria, Azospirillum, I guess, that is supposed to fix nitrogen in plants such as rice and corn, and then it says vegetables too, so I guess a variety of vegetables. You either mix it with the rice seed, or it can go on the rice beds, or you can trim the roots of the rice right before you transplant it and make a kind of a mixture of this in water, and you will soak the roots of that of the rice in that for about half an hour, and then supposedly it inoculates it and makes it grow much better. It takes 30 to 50% less fertilizer. So we're gonna experiment with it a little bit, see how it goes. We don't have a ton of rice at our place, but there's a few terraces, and thought we'll see what the farmers think, if they want to do terrace or how they want to experiment with it. But did you see in the background there's a banaba blooming right now? There's a lot of those around here blooming, which I didn't actually even recognize until I first saw them blooming, but quite a few here. Anyway, we're gonna go up to the farm. We'll experiment with this. I probably won't actually inoculate this stuff today, just because they're gonna start planting once it really starts raining here, which I'm looking at the forecast should be in the next few days, I think, but we'll see. But we'll experiment with it. If we can see a difference or can't, we'll let you know. So let's go to the farm. Then we're gonna just do kind of a hike around too today, so we'll take you around, see what we can see. Alright, while we're driving, I guess I'll talk a little more about this bacteria. So basically, this is from isolated from roots of a wild sugar cane, and it'll inoculate the roots of rice or corn, or the two specific crops they talk about, but they also say various vegetables, and can fix nitrogen. Just looking at that bacteria in general, other studies, I don't know about this specific strain, but other studies have shown it helping with phosphorus and the growth of fine roots on the plants. So this specifically, though, is noted that it fixes nitrogen in the plants, or for the plants, and then it will supposedly reduce your fertilizer need by 30% to 50%, which any more fertilizer's gotten pretty expensive, so we'll see if it works or not. We have not a ton of rice, so it's small enough scale. I don't know that it would really make a huge difference, but it's still, this is much cheaper than fertilizer for sure, so hopefully it works. The way nitrogen fixing bacteria work is most of the air we breathe is nitrogen, but it's bound up as N2. N2 has a triple bond, which is very strong, and so most plants can't actually can't utilize it just as it is from the air. So there's plenty of nitrogen around, but it's just not in a form that the plants can use. So unless we're making chemical fertilizer and giving it to them, it needs to come from the breakdown of organic material or from organisms that can use the nitrogen in the air and make it into a form that the plants can use, such as this bacteria. here. The hope is the idea is you can grow crops with chemicals, pesticides, fertilizers, and economically, the way that agriculture is set up, that's what most people do. Most of our food comes from. But crops aren't really made to just be on their own as an isolated organism. Just like when we think of people, we think of a person as that's one organism, but in reality, for you or me or anybody, we're actually billions and billions of organisms in our body. We actually have more bacteria cells than human cells in our body. So in terms of just cell numbers, we're actually more bacteria than we are people. And if we have a good balance of bacteria, it can really help with our health. So it can affect everything from digestion to even like things like cravings, our mental state. There's a lot of interesting research with how bacteria interacts with us. It's the same for crops. In nature, you have billions and billions of bacteria in the soil, and most plants have somehow formed most plants have formed some kind of a relationship with bacteria or fungi or other organisms. So working with that will hopefully be better and more cost efficient than working against it and just using man-made chemicals for everything. So we'll see how this works. Drive up here. We have arrived. We'll see how this goes. Celeste isn't with me. Supposedly, AI can speak Ilocano much better than I can, so if we need to, we'll try using that to talk about this with the farmers, but we'll go from there.